Major General Sir Henry Havelock KCB was a British general who is particularly associated with India and his recapture of Cawnpore from rebels during the Indian Rebellion of 1857. Early life. Henry Havelock was born at Ford Hall, Bishop Weymouth, the son of William Havelock, a wealthy shipbuilder, and Jane, daughter of John Carter, solicitor, of Stockton-on-Tees. He was the second of 4 brothers, all of whom entered the army. The family moved to Ingress Park, Greenhithe, Kent, when Henry was still a child, and here his mother died in 1811. From January 1800 until August 1804, Henry attended Dartford Grammar School as a parlour boarder with the master, Rev. John Bradley, after which he was placed with his elder brother in the boarding house of Dr. Raine, headmaster of Charterhouse School, until he was 17. Among his contemporaries at Charterhouse were Connop Thirlwall, George Grote, William Hale, Julius Hare, and William Norris, the last 2 being his special friends. Shortly after leaving Charterhouse, his father lost his fortune by unsuccessful speculation, sold Ingress and removed to Clifton. In accordance with the desire of his mother, he entered the Middle Temple in 1813, and became a pupil of Joseph Chitty. His fellow student was Thomas Talfourd. Henry's legal studies having been interrupted by a misunderstanding with his father, Havelock was thrown upon his own resources, and obliged to abandon the law as a profession. By the good offices of his brother William, who had distinguished himself in the Peninsular War and at Waterloo, he obtained on 30 July 1815, at the age of 20, a post as second lieutenant in the 95th Regiment of Foot Rifle Brigade, and was posted to the company of Captain Harry Smith, who encouraged him to study military history and the art of war. He was promoted lieutenant on 24 October 1821. During the following 8 years of service in Britain, he read extensively all the standard works and acquired a good acquaintance with the theory of war. India. Seeing no prospect of active service, he resolved to go to India, and at the end of 1822 transferred into the 13th Regiment, then commanded by Major Robert Sale, and embarked on the General Kidd in January 1823 for India. Before embarkation, he studied the Persian and Hindustani languages with success under John Borthwick Gilchrist. During the voyage, a brother officer, Lieutenant James Gardner, awakened in Havelock religious convictions which had slumbered since his mother's death, but henceforth became the guiding principle of his life. Havelock served with distinction in the First Anglo-Burmese War, after which he returned to England and married Hannah Shepherd Marshman, the daughter of eminent Christian missionaries Drive, and Mrs. Joshua Marshman. At about the same time he became a Baptist, being baptized by Mr. John Mack at Serampore. He introduced some of his new family's missionary ideas to the army and began the distribution of Bibles to all soldiers. He also introduced all-rank Bible study classes and established the first non-church services for military personnel. First Afghan War. By the time Havelock took part in the First Afghan War in 1839, he had been promoted to the rank of captain. He was present as aide-de-camp to Willoughby Cotton at the capture of Ghazni, on 23 May 1839, and at the occupation of Kabul. After a short period in Bengal to secure the publication of his memoirs of the Afghan campaign, he returned to Kabul in charge of recruits, and became interpreter to General William George Keith Elphinstone. In 1840, being attached to Sir Robert Henry Sale's force, he took part in the celebrated passage of the defiles of the Ghizis and in the fighting from Tazeen to Jalalabad. Here, after many months' siege, his column in a sortie en masse defeated Akbar Khan on 7 April 1842. He was now made Deputy Lieutenant General of the Infantry Division in Kabul, and in September he assisted at Jagdalak, at Tazeen, and at the release of the British prisoners at Kabul, besides taking a prominent part at Istalif. He next went through the Gwalior campaign as Persian interpreter to Sir Hugo and distinguished himself at Maharajpur in 1843, and also in the Sikh wars at the battles of Mudka, Feroz Shah and Sabran in 1845. He used his spare time to produce analytical reports about the skirmishes and battles in which he was involved. These writings were returned to Britain, and were reported on in the press of the day. For his military services he was made Deputy Adjutant General at Bombay. He transferred from the 13th Regiment of Foot to the 39th, then as Second Major into the 53rd at the beginning of 1849, and soon afterwards left for England, where he spent 2 years and became involved in the running of the Stepney Baptist Academy, soon to move to Regent's Park. He returned to India in 1852 with further promotion. He was appointed Quartermaster General, promoted to full colonel, and appointed Adjutant General, India in November 1854. Indian Rebellion of 1857. In that year, he was selected by Sir James Outram to command a division in the Anglo-Persian War, during which he was present at the action of Mahamra against the forces of Nasir al-Din Shah under command of Kanla Mirza. Peace with Persia freed his troops just as the Indian Rebellion broke out, and he was chosen to command a column to quell disturbances in Allahabad, to support Sir Henry Lawrence at Lucknow and Wheeler at Cawnpore, and to pursue and utterly destroy all mutineers and insurgents. Throughout August, Havelock led his soldiers northwards across Oudh, defeating all rebel forces in his path, despite being greatly outnumbered. His years of study of the theories of war and his experiences in earlier campaigns were put to good use. At this time Lady Canning wrote of him in her diary, "General Havelock is not in fashion, but all the same we believe that he will do well." But in spite of this lukewarm commendation, Havelock proved himself the man for the occasion and won a reputation as a great military leader. 3 times he advanced for the relief of the Lucknow, but twice held back rather than risk fighting with troops wasted by battle and disease. Reinforcements arrived at last under Outram, and he was able to capture Lucknow on the 25th of September 1857. However, a second rebel force arrived and besieged the town again. This time Havelock and his troops were caught inside the blockade. There he died on the 24th of November 1857 of dysentery, a few days after the siege was lifted. The illness was likely brought on by the anxieties and fatigue connected with his victorious march and with the subsequent blockade of the British troops. He lived long enough to receive news that he was to be created a baronet for the first 3 battles of the campaign, but he never knew of the major generalship which was conferred shortly afterwards. With his baronetcy was a pension of £1,000 a year voted by Parliament. He was also appointed Colonel of the 3rd Regiment of Foot in December, as the news of his death still had not reached England. The baronetcy was afterwards bestowed upon his eldest son, Henry, in the following January, while to his widow, by royal warrant of precedence, were given the rights to which she would have been entitled had her husband survived and been created a baronet. Parliament awarded pensions of £1,000 a year to both widow and son. Legacy. Statue in Trafalgar Square. There is a statue of Havelock in Trafalgar Square, London. The plaque on the plinth reads, "To Major General Sir Henry Havelock KCB and his brave companions in arms during the campaign in India 1857. Soldiers, your labours, your privations, your sufferings, and your valour will not be forgotten by a grateful country. H. Havelock." In 2003, there was major controversy when the then Mayor of London, Ken Livingstone, suggested that the Trafalgar Square statue, together with that of General Charles James Napier, be replaced with more relevant figures. Statue in Mowbray Park. William Bennis also designed the statue of Havelock at the top of Building Hill in Mowbray Park, Sunderland. 2 cannons stand beside the statue, facing north, commanding the view over the park. The statue, however, looks west towards Havelock's birthplace. The statue reads, Born 5 April 1795 at Ford Hall, Bishop Weymouth, died 24 November 1857 at Dilkusa, Lucknow. Tomb in Lucknow. The monument at his grave was erected by his sons, widow and family. The quotes mentioned in his tomb are, "His ashes in a peaceful urn shall rest, his name a great example stands, to show how strangely high endeavours may be blessed, when piety and valour jointly go." Other namesake of Havelock, Nova Scotia. Havelock Road in Cawnpore is a popular tourism destination. Havelock Memorial Church in Cawnpore. The Havelock neighborhood, formerly a city, in Nebraska is named after him. A play about Havelock by Charles Wood was performed at the National Theatre, London in 1969. Harold Hobson in the Sunday Times called it one of the National Theatre's outstanding achievements. Havelock Road and Havelock Road Colony in Lucknow are named as a tribute to General Havelock. This is situated next to Hazrat Ganj. Havelock Road in Dartford, the town whose school he attended. Havelock is the name of a house at his former school, Dartford Grammar School. The house system was introduced in 1916 with 4 houses. Dyneth, Gwyn and Vaughan are named after the 3 founders of the school, William Dyneth, Edward Gwyn and philanthropist William Vaughan. Havelock and Wilson are named after distinguished former pupils. Havelock is a senior wing house at St. Paul's School, Darjeeling in India, where all the senior wing houses are named after colonial-era military figures. Havelock, in the South Island of New Zealand, and Havelock North, a town in Hawke's Bay, New Zealand, are both named after him. Havelock Island, in the Andaman Islands, is also named in his honour. Several public houses in England are named the General Havelock. Burnley, Lancashire, Haydon Bridge, Northumberland, High Wycombe, Buckinghamshire, Ilford, Essex, South Shields, South Tyneside. The Haydon Bridge pub sign bears his portrait. Havelock Road in Addiscombe, Croydon, part of the site of the Addiscombe Military Seminary. Havelock Road in Biggleswade, with the first houses being built in 1902. Havelock Road in Singapore. Havelock is the name for the piece of cloth that hangs from the back of a keppa to protect the neck from sunburn. Havelock has a prominent place in all of the series of the Flashman Papers novels set in the subcontinent. He is given the nickname Gravedigger. The Havelock Terrace at the old Lansdowne Road Stadium in Dublin was so named as it backed onto the small 19th Havelock Square. The roof of the new Aviva Stadium, currently under construction, dips dramatically in response to the proximity of the square. The city of Havelock, in North Carolina, is named after him. The General Havelock, a hotel on Hutt Street in Adelaide, Australia, is named after the General. Havelock Community Centre in Southsea, Hampshire, UK, named after Sir Henry Havelock. The township of Havelock, Belmont, Methuen, particularly the town of Havelock, Ontario, is named after him. The town of Havelock, Quebec, is named after him. Havelock Crescent in Morningside, Durban, South Africa, is named after him. Havelock Park, a satellite housing estate, Sunderland, Tyne and Wear, United Kingdom, close to where he was born, was built in 2005 and named after him. His name hangs above 2 of the rooms in main block at Regent's Park College, Oxford, and his portrait hangs outside the library.